A stunning report from Project Baltimore showing the situation in some Baltimore City schools is dire.
Now, usually our Project Baltimore report comes in a little later in our newscast, but tonight we need to bring your attention to this report.
It's because it shows 23 city schools have 0 students who tested proficient on the state math exam. 2,000 students in total took this math test at these schools, and not one did math at a grade level.
Listen to those numbers. Where is the bell ringing for some type of crisis moment? My God.
This isn't a red siren. I don't know what is to say. This isn't working. We need to completely redo this.
Fox 45 News is demanding answers about that report from state and local leaders. Our team coverage begins with Project Baltimore and a mother calling on someone to fix city schools.
As Chris Papps explains, this mother says major changes need to happen now or she's leaving.
Nothing up there for them. Nothing. They go there to get babysit for 8 hours and come home.
Nichelle Watkins is exhausted.
I feel like they don't care. It's not their children. They don't care.
After years of pleading for help from Baltimore City Public Schools.
Look around. I'm in public housing. I can't afford no $1,000 tutor from Sylvan, but that's what he needs. A tutor. How was your school day?
Pretty good.
Her son is in 4th grade at Johnston Square Elementary. For years, she says she's been trying to get the school system to hold her son back, give him time to learn the material, instead of just pushing him through the grades. 5 months ago, in October, she even wrote Project Baltimore asking for help, saying her son is not getting the education he needs.
He can't read. He's in the 4th grade. How is he supposed to be productive if he can't read?
Baltimore City is facing a devastating reality.
Then, Watkins saw this Project Baltimore story Monday night, confirming what she already knew.
When I seen the name Johnston Square on there, I knew what I was doing and what I was saying was absolutely correct.
Project Baltimore combed through the 2022 state test results known as MCAP, Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. Every Maryland student is tested in 3rd through 8th grade, and once again in high school in both math and English. Scores place the students in one of 4 levels. Levels 1 and 2 are considered not proficient. 3 and 4 are proficient. We found in 23 Baltimore City schools, there were 0 students who tested proficient in math. Not a single student. And on that list, Johnston Square.
I wasn't surprised. It needs to be something done today. Yeah, they get a whole lot of money, and it's coming out my check. I see it.
Baltimore City funds nearly 20% of city schools. This year, that amount hit $309 million. So Project Baltimore sent an email to every city council member and Mayor Brandon Scott. We asked, who do you hold accountable for these concerning test results? What steps will you take as an elected leader to address these low scores and improve student outcomes? And will you ask for further investigation to determine why so many schools have so few students proficient in math? Councilman Eric Costello quickly replied, saying he was dismayed by our findings, adding, "This is not the performance that we expect for Baltimore's children." Costello also explained that City Council has virtually no control over the schools, saying the council can do very little when it comes to school performance and can't even withhold funds.
That we invest in them now.
As for the mayor, we didn't receive a reply.
As a mother of children who go to one of these 23 schools, do you want to hear from the mayor?
No, not really. I don't. Because what is he going to say? What is he going to do? But make a whole bunch of promises that he's not going to fulfill. So I just feel like that's pointless. I need somebody that's going to do something.
City Schools also declined an interview to discuss these 23 schools, but explained in a statement the steps it's taking to improve math scores, including professional development for teachers, summer learning, and an extended learning period at the end of the day. The district said it's confident these steps will work. Watkins is not.
I have a black son that got to grow up in Baltimore City. That's why I'm so emotional. That means in Baltimore City, you having a black child, a male child at that, is only 2 ways out. You're either gonna be dead or locked up. And I don't want that for my son. Do you think you still need a tutor?
Watkins told Project Baltimore she has no hope the school system will ever improve.
I want to see hope. I really do.
Her plan is to continue working and save money. As soon as she can afford it, she says she's leaving the city.
That is the plan. That's the only thing I can see. They got to grow up. They got to be able to go to the grocery store. They got to be able to afford bills, a roof. They got to survive. I'm not going to always be here. When I close my eyes, then what?
And you don't think your son's getting the education he needs to survive?
Absolutely. He's not.
I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Well, Fox 45 News has been pressing leaders in both Baltimore and Annapolis about who's at fault and how they're planning to remedy the situation. Mackenzie Frost has their responses, including some pushing back on Fox 45 News coverage of these serious issues in city schools.
We went from City Hall to the halls here in Annapolis, and some leaders representing Baltimore City simply don't want to talk about some of these students who are failing in the classroom. Now, I'm told an oversight hearing will be held in Baltimore City to demand answers from the leaders of city schools. The data shows 2,000 students in Baltimore City public schools are not proficient in math. From elementary through high school, these students in 23 schools across Baltimore are falling behind. Fox 45's Project Baltimore sending questions to the city council, asking them about the test scores and the families impacted. Wednesday,
I am aware of that report.
we asked members in person about the glaring gaps in success.
Should he hold an oversight hearing with the CEO of city schools to talk about these failing kids?
Yeah, I definitely think it's worthwhile. I think it's important for us to understand what's going on. That's the only way for us to actually make any change here.
Others inside City Hall, where the council provides oversight and has a hand in the budgeting process, not talking about the problems.
My colleague sent an email about the 23 schools in the city who have 0 students who are proficient in math.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not talking to any Sinclair affiliate. That's the end of that.
You don't have any concerns about these failing schools?
No, I don't have any interest in talking to anybody from any Sinclair broadcast group affiliate.
Why is that?
I'm not going to talk about it.
We traveled to Annapolis, seeking out leaders from Baltimore City, demanding answers from the chair of the House Education Subcommittee.
I just needed to ask you about the 23 schools that have 0 students who are
Delegate Stephanie Smith.
Who do you hold accountable for that?
Walking into the committee room instead of answering.
Delegate Lewis.
We also found Delegates Sandy Rosenberg and Robin Lewis, questioning them about the failures of schools as well.
I sent you an email about the 23 schools in Baltimore City who have 0 students who are proficient in math.
When you do a school story about something succeeding in the schools, I'll respond. You never do. So
who do you hold accountable for the failing?
Your boss is for the distorted coverage you provided.
Well, the data came from Baltimore City Public Schools.
Not answering the questions about accountability, including about what's going on in their city. Questions sent to the entire city delegation, both House and Senate members, asking, who do you hold accountable for these test results? What steps will you take to address these low test scores and improve student outcomes? Will you ask for further investigations to determine why this many schools have so few students proficient in math? Why will millions of more dollars be allocated to city schools given these proficiency scores? Senator Corey McCray and delegates Jackie Addison and Caleb Young telling Fox 45 News it's everyone who should be accountable for student achievement, adding, it is crucial to comprehend the root causes of the low proficiency scores in these schools, all to find solutions moving forward. Senator Antonio Hayes' office telling Fox 45 he wasn't available today. no one else responding. Right now, City Schools has a budget of $1.6 billion. That's roughly $21,000 per student. City Schools spending in the top 5 for large school districts across the country. Meanwhile, classrooms across the state are set to get an additional $30 billion over the next decade from the Kerwin Education Plan.
Is sending more money to the school districts through the Kerwin plan, will that help this problem?
Unfortunately, I think no is the answer to that. Every single time the response is we need more money. Never we need more accountability.
Republican Delegate Nino Mangione from Baltimore County says leadership in the city cannot turn a blind eye to this problem.
It's really, truly a dereliction of duty. At some point, the answer has to be, you know what, we need to get rid of people who are not getting the job done, have a real systemic change to what's actually happening.
A call for change that may go unanswered, as the failures highlighted now are added to the laundry list of problems and students struggling to learn in classrooms across Baltimore City. Councilman Stokes says he hasn't scheduled a date for that hearing yet, and that's something he's looking to do in the coming days. But will that hearing bring real changes? That's a question we've yet to see answered. In Annapolis, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
If you have concerns about education and you want your local representatives in Annapolis to address it, scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you directly to our website, which lists their official email and phone numbers.
Now, this isn't the first time that Councilman Ryan Dorsey has dismissed Fox 45 News. In 2020, Fox 45 News reached out to the councilman asking about his tweet calling for the city's police memorial to be removed. He responded saying no comment for Sinclair Broadcast Group. A year before that, he told Sinclair to, quote, drop dead in response to a question.
Well, Fox 45 Morning News, we spoke with Pastor P.M. Smith, who opened Baltimore's Hope Academy 25 years ago. He says the school system is failing taxpayers.
There's 77,000 students in the Baltimore school system. Their budget is $1.6 billion. They're failing our future. We're not getting our money's worth, and as a taxpayer, I'm outraged.
And while 23 Baltimore City schools had 0 students proficient in math, the city school CEO, Dr. Sonia Santelises, is being honored for her accomplishments.
In the Sunday edition of the Baltimore Sun, Dr. Santelises was named one of the 25 Black Marylanders to watch in 2023. On the front page of the article, Dr. Santelises was praised for her accomplishments over the past 6 years.
The article pointed to a bright spot this fall when federal test scores known as NAEP showed city schools had performed better in several areas compared to the rest of Maryland. For example, 8th grade reading scores held steady from before the pandemic. But the article did not explain that, according to NAEP, Baltimore is now 21 points below the national average for large cities. It's an all-time low for the city since national testing began 13 years ago. Dr. Santelises, who is quoted in the Baltimore Sun article, did not agree to an interview with Project Baltimore when we reported those scores back in November.
During a family and community forum with the City Board of School Commissioners, some parents we spoke with had a different view of Dr. Santelises than the Baltimore Sun.
I have no confidence in Dr. Santelises because where is she?
We have a CEO who is in charge of these schools and as well as the school board, and I know complaints have been sent to them and they need to hold themselves accountable.
She needs to go. Yes.
Fox 45's Jeff Abel pressed school commissioners about the report. He joins us live now with their response and frustration from parents. Jeff?
That's right. Many parents at Edmondson Westside High School were fuming tonight after learning that 1 out of 225 students tested there were proficient in math.
Some of our kids are afraid, you guys, to go to school.
At Edmondson Westside High School, parents were reduced to tears over the state of the city schools.
But our kids are dying, and they are afraid to go to school. Period.
In fact, recent state test scores appear to agree. Of the 225 students here at Edmondson Westside who recently completed state tests, just 1 of them was proficient in math.
That is very, very concerning.
Terrible. Horrible.
And our kids are not caught up, but we're passing them. We're passing them, but they can't read.
At a forum with school commissioners tonight, school officials told parents that many students are still struggling to catch up from learning loss during the pandemic.
Students suffered during the pandemic, especially in math.
So my question is, what are we doing?
So we invested millions of dollars in tutoring. We've given out devices.
We introduced small group learning.
I represent the Black Church of Baltimore. We're acting right now.
I know COVID had an impact on the academics of kids across Baltimore City and across the state, across the entire country. However, there were problems in Baltimore City schools far beyond the 2 years or 3 years we've had of COVID.
Some parents blame the Common Core curriculum. Others blame the school's top administrator.
We have a CEO who is in charge of these schools.
Do you still have confidence in the CEO?
I do. I think that it's maybe easy to point fingers at one individual person.
I've sent her email after email. I've sent her letter after letter. I have no confidence in Dr. Santalisa because where is she? She's not even here.
We have to do something, you guys. They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it if we don't do something now.
Well, this was just one in a string of forums school commissioners are beginning to hold across the city. We're live tonight. Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
Jeff, thank you. Well, this report is just the latest problem Project Baltimore has reported on. In 2021, they discovered so-called ghost students and grade changing at Augusta Fell Savage High School, which is one of the 23 schools with 0 students scoring proficient on the state math test. Last summer, Project Baltimore heard from 5 families who say their children with disabilities were forced to miss significant amounts of class, but their report card showed fake grades and attendance. Despite those problems, Dr. Santalisas' salary is rising. She earns a base salary of more than $300,000 a year. Project Baltimore found with the perks in her contract, it is up to $445,000. Well, that brings us to our question of the day. Do you trust Dr. Santalisas to lead Baltimore City schools? So far, 96% of voters say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote and click on the Project Baltimore tab to weigh in.
Amid the problems with some city schools, a high-performing Baltimore City charter school is in danger of closing its doors. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports the school CEO says it's all over what he's calling technicalities.
Yeah, while the school system hasn't officially revoked this charter, they have said it's a very real possibility, a possibility that now has parents, students, and staff that I've been speaking with up in arms.
To know that we may be moving or closing is very disheartening.
A month inside the Baltimore City public school system is all it took for Regina James Banks to pull her 4 kids out of public schools and place them into a city charter.
Overcrowded classrooms, teachers that are just overwhelmed. It's just too chaotic in the regular Baltimore City traditional setting for me and my family.
Here at the Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys, she says her sons are thriving.
They take time with the guys here and get to know them and push them forward for the future.
But soon this charter may no longer be an option for her children.
It's very upsetting.
It's just very disappointing. I would hope that we could partner better.
The school CEO, Edwin Avent, says an annual review found the charter was suffering in several categories.
I would classify them as technicalities.
Technicalities, he says, involve things like missing paperwork or simple data entry errors.
They were procedural, operational things that we believe can be and have been addressed.
However, in the report found on the district's website, the city finding the charter's teaching practices and staffing also falling short. The report reading in part, quote, the operator of Baltimore Collegiate School for Boys has had serious ongoing operational difficulties over the course of the contract, which have affected the safety or well-being of students, staff, or the district. Still, Avent argues the challenges facing his charter are far less concerning than the challenges seen in public schools citywide.
I don't think that they rise to the level of closing a school, because certainly if we were a district school and it were the same issues, you wouldn't be closing a district school.
And according to Avent, the charter's current graduation rate is around 95%, and their college enrollment rate is well over 50%, much higher than what's seen in city public schools, where only 69% of students graduate and 47% go to college.
We don't blame the city, but what we ask for is grace, because I do believe that their schools are going through some of the similar challenges that we're going through.
I have 4 boys and everybody's gone here, and this will be a really miss from our family if we was to close.
Now, again, there's been no official recommendation to revoke this charter. That will likely happen next Tuesday when the Baltimore City Schools CEO, Dr. Sonia Santalese, is scheduled to make her official recommendations before the Board of Commissioners. Reporting in Baltimore, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Fox 45 News and Project Baltimore committed to uncovering the problems within the Baltimore City public school system. Our commitment to you is to question school and city leaders and hold them accountable. You can follow along both on air and online on our website, foxbaltimore.com. I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching. Here's another video for you to watch. Also take some time to subscribe to our YouTube channel.